shall we get started?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Jen,
Okay.
do you want to start at all?
I can, since I have the paint stuff in front of me, or the with the welcome, right?
Yes. Yeah, with the
That's
welcome part.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, the paint stuff is your end. So welcome, Sarah, small but mighty, with the three of us. But I just want to welcome you as we're coming off of the COVID pandemic. It's not completely over yet, but it's a lot better than what it was. And so this time is an opportunity to connect, to find out how participants are connecting at the ranch, but connecting with you and other supporters and people that are partnering with us throughout the day. So we had one in person already. We have a later one this afternoon. There we go. Now I'm centered. But welcome to the Zoom portion of the Paint and Sip.
Great. Thank you.
And was your mug intact when it came to you?
Yes, and I'm using
Good.
it. So
Good. Sounds good.
all sorts of things in this cup right now.
Yes. Good.
So, okay.
Cool. Well, I'm Chloe, and I am on the board of directors at the ranch and friends for a long time with Jennifer, post-college friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so I run a business called In-Home Creations, and we put together these paint kits for today. And so I'm going to be our instructor. And then while our boards dry, Jennifer will take you on a tour of the ranch and tell you some stories and talk about what she does here. And then we'll come back and finish up our paint project. So,
Okay. Sounds good.
all right. So Sarah, show us what design you're working on today.
This one.
All right. You and Jennifer are doing the same one.
Yep.
All right. Well, Jennifer's going to be the the girl who's showing you how to do it. So
Yep.
Okay.
she's going to stick my phone up into the gooseneck so we can see what she's doing. And I'm just going to give verbal instructions.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So the first thing is, what is your background color, Sarah?
I don't know. Hold on. This is the board, and then I have black, green, and white. I don't remember what I chose.
Whichever one is the fullest one is your background color.
Okay, it's probably the black.
Okay. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your brush and kind of pull at the bristles just to get any of the loose ones out.
Okay.
Jennifer, you have a white background.
Yeah, I have a foam one, so I don't need to.
Correct. You are using a foam brush.
Yep.
For some reason, the white paint gets extra streaky with the regular brushes. So
Okay.
foam with the white color.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're going to paint the outside edges of your board first, and then we'll paint the top of the board. Do a thorough but a light but thorough coat so that it will dry on time but still be covered.
Okay. Let's see if I make a mess with black paint.
Yeah.
You said just the edges?
So you're going to start by doing the edges like Jennifer's doing, and then you'll do the top of the board. The front of the board is the lighter colored side.
I don't know.
And it's a little smoother too.
Okay.
You're awesome. Hey, can you go get me one of those Redemption Ranch mugs out of the box over there? I'm not sure why. It's like burning hot, and I decided to drink some coffee.
Yeah.
Just can't go without, you know?
No, it's the afternoon. It's time. Yesterday, I didn't drink in my afternoon coffee, and I felt it. I could not think clearly all afternoon. So Sarah, are you very familiar with what Jennifer's doing here at Redemption Ranch?
Not completely. I watched a couple of the videos on Facebook, I think yesterday.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like a lot of families come there and people for healing, like with the animals and nature and whatnot, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, cool.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah.
Well, you get to hear a lot more about it today, and you can even ask questions.
Great. Okay. Should I start the front or just the edges?
Yeah, and once you're done with the edges, then you'll just do a nice one coat over the top of the front.
Okay.
Out here in the barn, I'm using, what is this trash can I'm using, Jennifer?
It's just for like bedding bags and paper towels and stuff.
Okay, well, I'm using this trash can as a table for my computer.
There you go. That works.
I turned over
It's not the stinky trash, so don't worry.
good. Well, I haven't been smelling anything, so we're good.
Good.
I just turned over a water bucket to use as my coffee table.
There you go. Being inventive.
I've never taught a paint party in a barn before.
Now you have something
experience.
else to post.
That's right.
Yeah.
Am I doing this right, Crosby?
So Sarah, my kids came along with me this weekend to help with the paint parties. Our business is a family business, and so the board that you're painting was sanded by my 8-year-old son.
Oh, nice.
And my daughter helped pack all the supplies that came in your box, and so it's very much a family affair here.
There's only
Yeah.
one because I didn't think about time zone differences.
Is his name Crosby or?
Yeah, that's who's with Jennifer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my co-partner right now.
Yeah, I might have seen like a video of him.
Yeah.
So thank you, Crosby, if you're listening.
Yeah, he heard you.
And what's your daughter's name? She was behind you at one point. Chloe.
Madeline is her name.
Madeline. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know if she's listening, but
She's not. I don't know where she went.
okay.
Probably out in the shade on the swing or something.
Yeah, doing her own thing. Smart.
She's on the reading my Spider-Man book.
Did you hear that?
Cool. Did you find him?
The horses say hello. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Horsies. Yeah. Okay.
There's a wasp.
Are you all
Yeah.
done?
Yes.
In your
Awesome.
Ugh. We had a nest by our porch door.
and there's one in that door where unfolded one
Oh, okay.
in the barn by where the birds.
Okay.
All right, Jen, are you done?
Yep, I am now.
All right. Are you ready to take everybody on a tour while this dries?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, and Crosby is gonna come with me. He just volunteered himself.
Woohoo.
So Crosby, go ahead and say hello.
Hello.
Bye.
He's getting his boots and then he'll join me.
Okay.
So I don't have to walk by myself.
Yeah. Andrew.
Hey,
I'll
Sarah.
pretend to give Crosby a tour.
This boy is 8 years old too, and he's gonna give us a tour of the ranch. Just don't touch this paint.
Take a Sarah, do you mind
Yeah.
reading yours for a moment? And then if you have questions, just chime in when you want to.
Okay.
You ready, Crosby? All right. So it's cool that this way you get to see the property without actually being here. There we go. Switch the view around. Can you still hear me okay? You can nod your head yes. Good. So this is the end of our driveway at the start of the tour. And so Crosby will show you there is a bench out here. That this is where we start. And so inside or on, I guess, the front is a cross, and you can see me in the reflection. But there's purple heart wood right there. And so it just reminds us of the focal point of this ranch, that it's not just the animals, nature, and games and activities, but God is a part of it as well. And so inside, there are Bibles and jars. The words are faded at the moment, but it's for answered prayer and prayer requests. And so there is a visual with the fence line out here where you have your vertical post, the up and down. And that's just to remind us that there are two things that God wants us to focus on, is loving God and loving others. And so the vertical posts are to remind us to look up to God and praise him and acknowledge that he is God and he is good. But then those vertical posts also go down to the ground, reminding us to humble ourselves before God in prayer and reading our Bible. And then the horizontal rails remind us of loving other people. So it's horizontal, just like our arms outstretched, where God wants us to love him, but also love others. And so this is where the sessions start with the women, and we're going through the story of Leah with the women's group, but the jars are used for the kids, more of the basic level where they can do prayer requests as well as answered prayer. So we'll go on to the next thing. We'll walk up the driveway, and right here are the garden beds. And so there are dill and cucumbers planted in this one. There are a few that are coming up right here. Those are the cucumbers. They're just little guys. And then in here, we have the green marking green peppers, the yellow for jalapenos, the red for Roma tomatoes, and the silver one in the back for cherry tomatoes. And then in the basket is cilantro. And so all the things that we need for salsa minus onion. And then we have strawberries over here. And so just this concept of growth, spiritual growth, growth in life skills. And so kids are learning how to weed and harvest and take care of plants. But then they are also learning things like how to pickle cucumbers and make salsa. And so a lot of different things for the ranch participants to be a part of. And I guess I'll start this way. There's this big open space and hammocks next to the tree. This is the open space. We're hoping to someday get a playground built and put there. And then the hammocks are in the shade under the tree, a great way or a great place to lounge around. And then this way we have our house, as well as an open area here. This gets the shade in the afternoon and evening. And so activities at times happen out here. And then Crosby is showing you the swing. You'll walk with us. And so we have a swing out here that is a favorite activity by the kids. Multiple kids can fit on it. And so they liked it. It's in the shade, nice and cool. And then we also have flowers and benches on the front porch. So again, this is our shade area in the heat of the afternoon. So a nice, cool place to connect, but also do some journaling or just conversation. But lots of flowers in the front that the kids like to see when they come up. And we have a planter that's a pig right here. It's for my daughter. She really loves pigs. There were tulips in it. We moved them for now, but that was the closest thing to a real pig that we were willing to give to her. And then we have white roses here. We come around and there's some tulips, and then the dark line is going to be carrots. So the horses really like carrots. So it's another thing for the kids to help with, and then also gift to the horses. And then I'll turn it slightly. So there is a creek line in the back corner of our property, and we hope to make a kids clubhouse area there with a bridge across the waterway. And so things that are still in the dreaming process, and I can tell that your son is excited about that one. So Crosby is pointing to where the waterway is and jumping across. And so where he's standing is where the kids clubhouse will be someday. And then we'll continue on. We have yucca plants that are starting to come up, as well as sunflowers. And so we have several sunflowers here. The front 2 rows are 6 to 8 foot sunflowers. And then there are 4 that are smaller in the back row. Those will be 15 feet tall once they come up. And so a lot of tall growth and things that attract multiple birds and butterflies and other things that the kids and participants like to see. And then we have one lonely sunflower where a seed got planted by a bird or critter or by the wind. And so it's growing there, it'll come out. But this open bed will be for pumpkins. And so those will be planted in June. And then the participants will have pumpkins to take with them in the fall. And then we have this big open grass area. What?
Could you tell us about who planted those sunflowers? And
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And kind of like how the whole seed, the illustration of the seed and how you use that with participants?
Yeah. So the backtracking to the sunflowers, the ones in the front 2 rows, the smaller ones, we do a program in the winter time called Ranch on the Road, where the dogs travel to inner city Cincinnati, Ohio. And those inner city kids helped us plant these sunflowers. And so they planted them as seeds, and you can tell that they're already growing since April. And then the back line were the 15-foot ones were planted by some of the women that come for participants or as participants. And they all get planted as seeds. And so it's just that reminder that when we are facing those dark times, those hard times, that God is growing us through it. Not that it's any easier or desirable, but that God is with us and is just helping grow us through that. And so that the darkness is not the end of the story, but just part of it. And then we have this grassy area out here that we use for some of the games like volleyball or softball or the targets with the bow and arrow or Nerf guns. And we have a new sand arena that's past that with the sand. And so that's where we do more of the horse training and walking around with the horse for the sessions. And then as I'm walking, you'll be able to see the pasture in the back, as well as a wooden shelter that's out in the pasture that the bottom part is for the horses to get out of the sun and cold and rain. Chloe, can you see that okay? It's still small, okay. And so on the top is a stargazing platform it was Jessica's idea. She was the dreamer behind that. And then we had a work crew come and build it with the help of donors that made it possible. And so it's just that reminder that when times look dark or hard, that God is still with us and he's still active, just like the stars and the moon. And with that, there are some range participants that have sensory issues. And so they can go up there and overlook the horses without being right next to them and touching them. So it helps in that way as well. And then this way is, you can see in the background that there's a tetherball and basketball courts parked by the car. And so it just geared toward multiple kids, high energy, low energy, a wide variety of things to do. And then even in the garage, we had it set up for our morning paint and sip party. But in here, there is a radio with Christian music playing. We have boots and the back area for snacks. And so this is where they come for the start of the session. There's a welcome table that we set outside of the garage, and they get ready for the session. And so there are just really cool things happening with the ranch, in the way that there was an autistic boy at one point that came, and it was one that was a sensory processing, just difficulty with that, and did not want to touch the horses, didn't want to be around him or be around them. And so he and I walked out to the field while the horses were walking freely. And with that, I said, one of the horses may come around, but I will be between you and them. And so with that, it was just assuring his comfort level that, okay, they won't have to come up and talk to me. But Israel was out there and walked around the shelter and chose him and came to him, left his herd, left the hay, or left the grass, and came and approached this boy who just couldn't make, or had difficulty making friends. And so his only friend that he could tell us was his bus driver. None of the kids at school were his friends. They teased him a lot. And so here was Israel leaving the herd, leaving the grass, and coming to him. And I told him that, wow, Israel thinks you are so special. He left his herd and left the food to come and greet you. And he was still feeling comfortable. He assured me that he was fine with me in between the two of them. But even today, he still talks about how a horse told him he was special. And so, and that was free choice. The horse didn't have any halter or lead rope on. It was God's way of saying, this boy needs to know that he matters and does have friends. And then even another story, there was a boy that came that just had some suicidal thoughts. And so we were watching his mood, and we had him by the dogs, and Bailey is our beagle dog. And she ran up to him, didn't bark like she normally does because she gets anxious and overwhelmed. And she quietly ran to him, sat down at his feet, and he bent over and started petting her. And he said, I used to have a beagle, and that is something only God could have known, the way that Bailey chose him, but also sat at his feet, wanted to be pet. She knew he needed that. And it was just one of those moments where his mood changed from wanting to hurt himself to now he felt validated and important. And so that's just a couple scenarios of how God is using this place with the nature, sports, and horses, and how Crosby's making sure the paint is dry. But it's just one of those things where I couldn't control that. And so I'm not a licensed therapist, licensed psychiatrist, or anything like that. This is just a place that God has gifted to us. And so we're trying to be good stewards with what he's given to us. And then we let God move. We come with a plan, but clearly I couldn't call Israel over or Bailey over and make those things happen. That was all God.
Hey, Jennifer,
Yep.
I left the barn, so you can go in there without having any feedback or anything if you want to
Okay.
go in there.
Yeah.
Can you show us a picture of the dogs?
Yes. I'll do that quickly before I move on. And so we have pictures up here. There's Israel and Bailey. There's Bailey from our previous story. And then Irish and Benji is our standard poodle. He's a bigger dog. And then Jed. And so here we show them all the ranch animals that we have. And someday we hope to have smaller ones like miniature donkeys and ponies and miniature horses. And so then we'll have the big giraffes, the boys, down to the little ones. And so here is the barn. Here's Jed. His butt is facing us because he's hot and tired. He's snoozing in front of the fan. He likes having his head in the back corner. And then here's Israel. He prefers his face and neck in front of the fan. And so these boys are draft horses. They used to pull a wagon in Kentucky. But Jed, or Jedediah, the first one that I showed, he just got to a point where he just was not interested in the wagon pulling anymore. You can see Israel's falling asleep. But Jed just was not interested in pulling a wagon. And so they fired him from the pulling team. But Israel, being his brother, refused to pull with any other horse but his brother. And so then Israel was fired too. And so here both boys are. Being God's hands and feet at Redemption Ranch Family Ministries. And then here is Irish. She's a quarter horse. She's the smallest horse on our property. She used to be a barrel racer, had some tough training or firm training early on. And she really seeks out the little kids specifically. And there was even a girl with a club foot who came, and we did a service project out in the field, and she was falling behind the other girls, and Irish went from the front of the group all the way to the back of the group and sought her out and walked right next to her and said, I know she needs me. And so even then again, nothing I planned or did. That was all God's work through an animal. And Irish is one that seeks out the kids and the weak and the vulnerable. So these are the three horses that God is using, and just Jed's butt is all that you see right now. But these are the three horses that God is using here at the ranch.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Sarah, do you have any questions?
Do people stay? When they come, do they stay at the ranch over like a period of time, or?
They do not. Yeah, they do not stay overnight. And
Okay.
so with our insurance and the liability, we're not set up for that at the moment. However, that can be something that we pursue in the future. But for right now, the kids come for an hour, or the kids and adults. We have a women's program and a youth program. And so they come for an hour, hour and a half at a time.
Okay, great.
Yep. So I think Crosby is noticing that our paint is ready to go. And so is yours dry, Sarah?
I think for the most part, there's like a couple little streaks, but I think for the most part it's dry.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And there's your Obot, guys. Maybe, Matt, can you get a Ziploc? Sorry.
That's okay. No worries.
It's real life, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so as we're going, Sarah, if you think of any questions that you have, feel free to just chime in if there's something that you're wondering about.
Great.
So, okay, that's as far as the ranch and painting both. So,
yeah.
Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is use the sandpaper. And you're going to firmly sand your board in the opposite direction that you painted. So if your paint strokes are going horizontal, then sand vertically. And the goal here is just to get a smooth surface. We want the paint on the board to feel smooth without having any ridges or bumps, because the ridges and the bumps will allow little pockets where paint can seep underneath our stencil and bleed. So just take your sandpaper and firmly sand all over your board. All right, I'm back. I had to go pour Jennifer's paints. I forgot to do that. All right, you guys are doing a great job. Just rub your hand over it if it feels smooth and you're done. And then you're going to take a paper towel, damp paper towel, and just wipe your board to get any dust off. It's a dusty process. So we'll get all the dust off of our board so that our stencil will stick well when we get to that part. I was enjoying the hammock lounge while you were giving the tour, Jennifer. It was very nice.
Yeah, so I had myself muted.
You're
It
fine.
is really relaxing in the hammocks.
Yeah. All right. Are we all dusted off? Everybody ready to go?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. The next part is that we're going to prepare our stencil. So you're going to turn your stencil over so that the white grid paper is showing on top. There are 3 layers to a stencil. There's the white grid paper, the sticky blue stencil, and then a white or a clear transfer tape. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're taking off just the white back paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to start in the corner, lay it down on the table, I think is the easiest way to do it personally. And you're going to peel back the white paper slowly and pay attention to make sure that none of the blue continues to stick on to the white. And when it does, you're just going to kind of lay your white paper back down and rub the white paper and then continue. This is coming up so easily, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That is a spot.
Yep, just rub it and then continue to.
Oh, it's on the table.
I had to use this type of thing to put like a decal of my boys' names, you know, on their baseball bats.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was using a credit card right before the game, like when he's about to go on the field.
Yeah, nice.
On there. Make it work.
Yes.
Okay, so once you have the white peeled off and you check it, make sure there's no blue still on there. If there happens to be some blue left on, you're just going to have to very gently peel it off and stick it back onto your, onto the thing, whatever the word is, stencil. Okay, you're going to then fold that white grid paper in half and set it aside because we're going to use that later to dab our paint on. Doing a great job, Sarah. Good work.
Thanks.
All right. The next part is we're going to stick the stencil onto the board. I personally like to stand up for this part just so that I can see where it's going better. And it is cut to the size of your board, so you shouldn't have any problem with centering it or anything like that. It should already be ready to go. So you just lay it down and flatten it out. We don't want any bubbles. Once you lay it down, you can't pick it back up. So lay it down with confidence.
It's harder to see on the blackboard if it's even.
Oh yeah, the blackboard
yeah.
does make it harder. Yeah.
Oh well.
It should line up size-wise pretty evenly. There may be a little bit of hangover on the sides, but not much.
Yeah, that's probably my fault, but okay.
All right. Now we're going to take the clear transfer tape off. So you're going to do exactly like you did with the white paper. You're going to start in the corner and peel it back without any of the blue sticking to the clear.
And you won't have to check this one because it's clear.
This one's a little bit tougher to get off because it's really sticky.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh. Jennifer, you're a great demonstrator.
Thanks.
I don't know if mine is stuck down good enough here.
Is
This one?
it peeling up?
Yeah.
Yours is, Sarah? Your blue is not sticking down?
Right. But that's the edge that's
I
hanging up.
cannot get that out.
If it's the edge that's a little damp, then maybe start at a different corner.
I'll try and come up from a different angle.
How's that going?
No, I cannot get the middle of the O to stay put.
We may just need to like hand put it on.
Okay.
Yeah, use your picker. Good work. So Sarah, the story behind this sign is that the ranch is located on a road called Warrior Way.
Okay.
And so Jennifer often uses that to like talk about at the beginning when they're standing out by the road, like this is Warrior Way, and you're not a victim of your past, but you are a warrior because God is with you. And so it's really cool to think about how God has put the ranch on a road that is very appropriately named.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, I know you have told me in the past that this road was more like a driveway for one family in the past, and then they sold off property.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the story behind the name of the road?
I think it's just because the high school mascot are the Goshen Warriors.
Oh,
And so I think it goes along with the high school.
yeah. Funny. I thought it might
Yeah.
have some really like cool significance.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
It's appropriate.
To us, it does.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I'm noticing on your stencil that the dot of the I is missing. on the warrior.
Oh, yeah.
So you use your picker to pick that out.
Thanks. I didn't even see that.
Sometimes when we're preparing the stencils, we miss those little things.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks for noticing that.
Yeah. Sarah, how is yours going?
About 75% here. I've got
Okay.
that. Excuse me.
All right, so once it's off, take your finger and rub around the edges of all the words and letters. This will just help create a better seal so that our paint doesn't seep underneath and bleed. We try to take all necessary precautions so that we don't have any bleeding happen.
Yeah.
All right, we are just trucking along here.
Yeah.
So the next step, is everybody ready?
Yep, we're ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Are you ready?
Almost. Almost.
Okay.
I had black paint everywhere again, so I was...
Oh.
I'm like, oh, I got it on my laptop a little bit too. That's not good. 1 second here. Just going around the words quick. Okay.
All right, so in your kit, there is a few of these sponges, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this bottom rectangular part, the larger part that you would use normally to dab your makeup on, and you're going to dip it into your paint, and then you're going to blot off the excess paint onto your paper that you had folded and put to the side. Jennifer, why don't you demonstrate for us?
Yeah.
So you're gonna blot it off on the paper, and then we don't want it, we want there to be paint on there, but we don't want it to be like juicy or excess. Then you're going to dab up and down, fight the urge to swipe and wipe, okay? It feels like we should paint like this, but we're going to paint up and down like this. And this allows us to not get anything up underneath the stencil. So just like that, you're gonna dip it in your paint, dab it off, and then pounce it up and down all over your board. That's as easy as it gets. Guess you have to decide which words you're gonna do which colors. That is the trickiest part.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah, you have green.
Yeah. And I don't even remember what I chose for what. So.
It doesn't matter. You can, so the original example was the word Lord, the arrow, and the word warrior were in a color. And then the printed words were all one color.
Okay.
You can do it however you want though, but that's.
I know, I'm looking at Jessica's and that's what I've started to do.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom,
Yeah, buddy.
are we doing a raffle?
No, we don't have anything to raffle over Zoom. Zoom is hard to do a raffle.
That's also there's only one person.
Well, she would be the winner.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
we
it'd
don't have
be
a raffle this
between
time.
Jennifer and the other person.
So what you'll do is if it's not as dark as you want it,
Yeah.
just go through and do a second coat.
Okay.
Avoid the temptation to just glop a ton of paint on in the first time around. It's better to do multiple thin layers than one thick, heavy layer. again to prevent bleeding.
What's that blue called?
Remember.
Jennifer, what time of the day is where are like horses most active?
Our horses are most active at night because it's cooler out. There are less bugs like flies, and there's less heat,
Yeah.
and so they're more active at night.
How does that play into sessions then, Jen, when you have kids here and the horses are sleepy?
Yeah, it actually works out really nice because we do everything from the ground at the moment. And so it keeps the horses more still and calm. And that helps the kids feel safer when it comes to the bigger horses, especially.
Yeah.
And horses in general. And so with the inner city kids that come out, they don't typically see horses. And so the tired and calm horse is the one that feels the safest to them. And so it actually works out really nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what kind of groundwork do you do? What is it that you do with them?
Yeah. So we do several basic things like teaching them how to be around a horse and stay safe because horses are prey animals. So we want to keep ourselves calm and peaceful around them and not high energy and loud and obnoxious. And so they learn how to be around a horse. They learn how to groom a horse. They learn how to lead a horse around and do other things like putting on a halter and lead rope and tying a lead rope onto a hitching ring. And so and picking a hoof. So several of those basic things. But then there are other training activities that we can do with them where we put them on a long lunge line and lead them around or around us. And then we do hide the hiney where you lean to the side, look at their butt, and then they should put their butt away from you and face you. And so different activities that are all done from the ground level.
So what are the things that those different things teach a kid, or how can they benefit from those things?
Yeah. So it builds confidence for one, and just attentiveness to a horse's body language. But then it also helps a kid feel validated when the horse does turn and face them and does walk into be with them. And so there are those things where it boosts self-esteem. It helps with emotional awareness and staying calm and staying as the leader. And so a horse as a prey animal wants you to walk and be in their presence as if you are in charge. And so there's a lot of things like that that they learn and grow in.
Cool. Sarah, how is your painting going?
I just realized that I where it says mighty, I colored the eye, the dot for the eye, the same.
Oh, you can always.
I almost did that because it's on the same level.
Yeah, so I was trying to fix that somehow. So otherwise, going good.
Good.
Do what?
Can we brush the horse's hands?
Yeah, they actually need to be groomed after this.
Ooh, and then can we lead them around
Yeah, you can walk around with me.
with the horses?
When I'm with you.
Yeah.
Then you can be with the
it's safer.
horses. Yep. He is younger with a shorter attention span, and so he may have gotten bored if he had to wait around.
Last night when we went into the pasture.
Yeah, but he is very short in comparison to the big boys.
Jennifer, when you're feeling good about your coverage, you're welcome to take your stencil off.
But not when she's standing
Okay.
up and her head is up.
Hey, Jen, would you mind telling us about the Nerf gun target practice with the boy?
Oh, yeah. There is a high functioning autistic boy that came recently. And so we are doing a pilot program with the youth where we incorporate life skills. And so he is one that is currently working on emotional regulation. But with those life skills trainings, they also get to choose an activity that they simply find fun. And so he came, and his fun activity that he chose was target Nerf gun practice, where we just set up different recycling, like water bottles, cereal boxes, and then use that as our targets for a Nerf gun. And he and I were doing it, and he noticed that there were other Nerf guns that were not being used. And so he asked me if his dad could join us. And so he excitedly asked his dad once he had permission to include him, and just excitedly asked his dad to come over and join us. And so here was the dad and the boy and me all doing Nerf gun target practice together and versing each other and working as a team. And just the feeling of family working together, not that I'm family with him, but seeing a dad and son bond and connect in that way just gave proof that a Redemption Ranch Family Ministries, where family is a component to that it's certainly doing its job or fulfilling its mission.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time to take the stencil off once you're finished painting. How are you doing over there, Sarah?
I'm just going back to make a couple spots darker, but I'm pretty much done.
Great. So when you do peel it off, you just peel it off. You can do it firmly, and you can rip the stencil. It will rip.
Yeah, so like mine, it's ripping right now, and that's okay.
So it's gonna rip and tear, and that's fine because we're just throwing that part away. That was just our guide.
And it nothing needs to be dry like with the paints. It's fine.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. The paint that you're putting on right now does not need to be dry. You just need to be careful and aware of where the paint is wet, because if you get your fingers in it and then you touch your board, then you transferred the wet paint. So just be aware of the wet paint, but it's okay for it to be wet.
Okay.
And then we'll go back through. Did I include some toothpicks in with your kit?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you're going to use that toothpick to kind of pick at the centers of your letters, like O and D, where the centers are still stuck down. You'll peel those out with using the pointy toothpick.
Okay.
And this is the best part because you get to see how it all turns out.
Yeah.
Big reveal. You can use the picker too, Jen, if you need to.
Oh, yeah.
So Sarah, what do you do for a living, or not?
I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
But like a lot of stuff that you guys are talking about connects with me because growing up, my parents were actually pastors in the inner city churches. So I grew up with the inner city kids. Mm-hmm. And my parents, they're retired now, but they actually, my dad was worked for a drug rehabilitation program with the Salvation Army with a lot of people. And then also
get the pieces out? I know you were wanting to do it before.
Also the whole sensory thing. My son has some sensory issues, so just all hits home.
Yeah.
So I can connect.
Well, Jennifer and I both used to do ministry at an inner city church together. That's really how we got to know each other.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's always like really, yeah, near to my heart because that's kind of how I grew up. I was like the same age as the kids, and
Right.
so we were in Chicago and then we were in St. Louis, like East St. Louis inner city. So
With Salvation Army.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I got a little paint on here, white paint on the black, but oh well.
You can always go back and touch it up. The only thing is that you probably want to go back also then with your sandpaper because the sheen will be different.
Okay. Yeah.
But don't sand it until it's completely dry because then you'll have a big smear.
That's okay.
How did it turn out?
I still have some stuff to get off, but
Yeah.
And so then this,
Looking
looking. Yeah, the green is kind of hard to see on Zoom, but it's bright on my end.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as in person, you can see it well.
I know. Okay.
there are little ones down here too.
Yeah, there's lots of little things to pick on this.
Thanks for your help, Crosby.
Drink that watermelon. Better drink that water.
So, Sarah, did you grow up like your entire childhood in inner city neighborhood?
Most of it. Like when I was 7, we actually went to South Africa for a while with the Salvation Army.
Wow.
And then we came back and we were in the St. Louis area, but then we moved to Iowa where I was with Jessica, and that wasn't the same type of inner city there. So, but oh,
Okay. Yeah. When we're done, we'll hold up our boards and I'll do a screenshot. You want to bring me one? No, I'll pose too, or you can in the background. Okay. Did you guys live in an inner city neighborhood, or did you just commute in, or how did your family do that?
yeah, we always commuted.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were in like the suburbs where we actually lived. So.
What?
How do I tell?
Yeah, she's
louder.
yeah, it's just because it's her deep sleep, and so we just don't want to bother her.
She moves.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yep,
moves her head.
Yeah. And so it's because she can hear you and she's thinking about whether she should stand up or not. And so it's just best to just let her be.
Are you
Give her
wanting
her
to go, Sarah?
deep sleep.
Like when they sleep because they've been up all night.
Yeah.
Sarah, did you have a question?
I was just like wondering, like in the inside of the letters, like how to tell if there's actually the stencil there or not, or if I just got it underneath. You know what I mean? It's hard to
Yeah.
see
Um,
or just guess. I'm actually using the toothpick to kind of just rub it off some of the paint off.
you can look at Jennifer's to see kind of where they are. Those O's are just little slivers.
Yeah.
It's hard on the black, definitely, to be able to see well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you do scratch some paint off, you can always go in with a little tiny, or a, what's the word, like a little paintbrush and touch up some things if you need to.
An extra board. I don't think so. I don't. Your mom's battery is low. So
Oh.
the battery is almost dead on your phone, Chloe. There's 10% left.
Okay. Do you want to, I don't think I have a charger with me either.
Okay. Do you have an iPhone?
I do.
Okay. Jordan has
charger.
one. And so we can borrow his.
Okay. I have a charger in my car, but I don't have the box to plug it in.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're gonna do then, once you have it all picked and it's dry, which we might just do this after we log off Zoom, because
Yeah.
it may take a minute for things to dry well enough, but we're gonna turn it over and do the sawtooth on the back like this.
Okay.
So I don't know if you brought a screwdriver with you to the paint party or not today, Sarah?
Would you ask me? Sorry.
If you brought a screwdriver with you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. The Lord is with you, my Lord. Oh, that's just.
Hold on, Oliver. Oh. What, baby?
No, her Zoom. What do you mean? I had to log into Zoom like I was just. Well, do you have any other questions, Sarah, about the ranch before we go?
No, I don't think so. I think you answered everything pretty good. So thank you. It was very interesting.
We're glad you joined us today.
Yes, thank you for taking the time with little old me.
Fun.
No, it's great having you.
All right. Thank you. Here's my finished product.
Cool.
Can't see the
Jennifer,
green
why
very
don't you
good.
hold yours up? Where's that one?
Okay.
Where's the board at?
Hold
All right,
on.
we're gonna do a screenshot real quick. I'm gonna stand in the
Okay.
background.
Ooh, nice.
That's okay. All right, hold on one second. Everybody smile. Ready? Oh, Jennifer, wait, you should get your.
Oh, you want me in it?
Oh, mine's the wrong direction. Oh well.
I
the phone. Okay.
okay.
Mine's backwards, but I don't know how to change
It's actually straight.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. It's just for me.
Yep.
Never mind.
Okay, ready? Smile. Okay, let me do one more just in case, because you know how it is. Ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay.
All right, good.
Excellent.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.